Hi, this is Gadi Elkan with Dallas International Film Festival and Sillic Film News, and we're here with the filmmaker from In View.
Hi, my name is Kieran Cray. I'm from Dublin in Ireland, and I'm here at the Dallas International Film Festival for the world premiere of my film In View, and it's been fantastic.
So I've got to ask, Kieran, where did this Ruth character come from? Where did you can you tell us the spark point with you for this particular character?
Well, I suppose I started writing the script probably 2.5 years ago, and initially started off kind of nearly like a chase movie, but the main difference was that the lead character was male. So Dennis, who's the supporting character in View, was the lead character, and Ruth, who's the main character, was the supporting character.
Oh, wow.
So I worked out this whole script, and we kind of kept working on it, and we slowly kind of concentrated into just a real character study just of the character Dennis. So it's really just focused on him, what he was going through. There's been lots of films like this, about depression and whatever, but I wanted to try and make something that really got under the skin of the character and let the audience see it as it is, rough and ready, but I mean just as it is, nothing else, and not to be polishing or to making it look what it's not. So about 3 months before we started shooting, I was sitting home on a Sunday evening, and it just came to me, what if the main character was a woman? So I liked that straight away. The next day I went, rewrote the script, and it wasn't a big deal really, because what I did is I took the supporting female character and dropped her into the lead, and swapped the lead character to the supporting female character, while leaving all the locations and all the setups and all the situations the very same. So that was really putting a woman in a man's world completely, and then it just really worked for me. And as soon as I'd done it, I just realised, yeah, this is so much better than having the male in it, and that's how it came around.
I love that line, putting a woman in a man's world, and it completely affects her. It's kind of extremely harsh, and in fact, that must have been fascinating to create that character through that chaos.
Yeah, well, it was. In the film, the character is an Irish guard, and guards and police in general, they're a different breed, and especially with a woman, because they're exposed to stuff that lots they shouldn't really see, and they see it all, warts and all, nothing is spared, and that does make them harsh. And that fed in, again, because of the job, because of the character, really fed into her character to give her that harshness, because people would say, well, she isn't sympathetic, but for me that would defeat the whole point if she was sympathetic, because someone where she is, you're not really, if you knew them, you're not really going to like them. You're not really look for the way they act and the way they're drinking, and they can be erratic and they can outburst, do anything. You just don't know what's going to happen to them. So in real life, you're not going to be that fond of a person like that, shall we say. And I've tried in this film to make it as much like real life as I can.
And yet you don't cross a line where it ever becomes preachy. Like, I never watching this felt like you were trying to say something either way. Yeah. How difficult was it not to have like a voice in that sense?
Well, it wasn't that difficult really, because when I wrote it, I mean, it sounds a bit stupid, this, but sometimes when you write, and I'm writing her, I'm me, Kieran, is not writing her. She's writing herself, and then when you write something, hang on, no, I wouldn't, Ruth, as in Ruth, I wouldn't say that, or I wouldn't do that, and you take it away. So once you get the character fully developed in your mind and established, and I have many faults, but one of my strengths is in characterization and developing characters. And like when I was in plays stuff, that was always a real strength that I had. So once I got her established, actually it's not that difficult. Because I write something, I can tell, hang on, she wouldn't say that. Just take it out. And so it wasn't actually that difficult.
Can you talk about where you shot and like you said, since you already had everything set up, did it flow easily because you just kind of basically switched the roles in the? Literally, it just flowed. It was very simple. It did flow perfectly easily, because
everything was set up as it was, and it was just swapping the characters. Nothing else really changed. So when we came to shoot it, like we shot it in 18 days.
Oh wow.
And our budget was about €120,000, which is probably about $140,000. But within that, I mean, I wanted to look a certain way, so I wanted a certain look. So we got lenses in from the UK, anamorphic lenses. Like, you know, I'd actually used them before in the short film, one of the short films that I did, and their real softness to them, which you don't really get with optical or some of the other anamorphics. Like, you know, because another way, the more the technology goes on, the better it gets, the sharper it gets, and sometimes you don't really want it that sharp. So we shot 11 days in the capital in Dublin, and then for 7 days we shot in a country town about 25 miles outside Dublin. It was it was a rush, like, you know, but you know, we had a very good crew. We had a hugely experienced DP, Dave Brennan. He's done a huge amount of stuff, and you know, the key to this is to get the right people attached, like, you know, because they just make it so easy. And you know, we had, the most we ever did was 4 lights in any scene. Most of them between 1 and 3, and 3 would have been more. Usually about 2 would be it. And like, you know, and you've seen the film, like, you know, you wouldn't know. It just looks so well, like, you know, and that's the key when you get somebody who really knows what they're doing, like, you know, where they can get 2 or 3 lights, and as well as that, it just keeps everything moving. So like every 20 minutes we were doing another shot, like, which was key, because we had a lot of shots to do for the film. Now it was 91 pages in length, but the script, but I cut it to 73 before we started shooting, and that came in at 155 minutes on the assembly, which was quite long. And then we cut over an hour out of the finished, like, you know, so down to 93 minutes. So at the end you kind of think, and the film works, so you kind of say, well, God, if I'd went cut another 15 pages out of the script, we would have had that time to work better on other bits. But I mean, that's just filmmaking. But it's great to have that sort of built-in cushion.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, when you get to the edit can make a completely different film. Like, you know.
Yeah, I'm curious what else went on in that line. Wow.
Yeah. So, but you know, we kind of, the golden rule was, I had a very lucky with the editor, a guy called Tony Cranston, hugely experienced, 30 years in the business. He's done like a couple of 30 million budget features, like, you know, for working title and stuff. So really, it was blessing in disguise to get him. He really pushed me, and he kept pushing, and he thought you were finished. He pushed me again to do some more, like, you know. And but the golden rule was, is it about route? Is it moving on our story? If it's not, cut it out. And like, we cut a good chunk out, and then obviously as it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, it gets a bit harder to cut out. But I mean, once we stuck by that rule, it worked great, like, you know. Like, for example, there was a scene that we'd shot in the film. She headbutts the wall, okay, and she cuts her head, and a bit of trickle coming out of her face. And so the next scene we shot that was to go in was, she went to see the doctor. So the doctor was do two things for the scene. The doctor was going to patch up the mark, put a little tab on it, like, you know. And secondly, she's going to talk about organ donation. Is it true, like 60 organs in the body can be donated or whatever? So we cut that scene from the film because, for 2 reasons. One, she's a cop, and they're well used to being smacked around the place, like, you know. And a little cut in her head, she ain't going to the doctor. You know, she's not. So it's not really true to the character. And then we've already had different things through the film about organ donation. Do we need to tell the audience for a second or for a third time? I mean, the audience are bright, they know, they get it. So that's why we got it, for example.
You know, we got to, our blog that I work with, we got to send someone to Galway, and it's fascinating the amount of Texans that go to Ireland and the amount of Irish people that come to Texas. What's it like for you being able to come to Texas? And is that a known thing in Ireland, that Texans seem to love Ireland and Irish? It's weird how they meld together.
Yeah, I think probably the Texans that I've encountered so far are very nice. They're very helpful and very laid back. And I mean, like, the Irish are pretty helpful, pretty good to talk to, and pretty laid back. So it's probably a lot of that going on. This is my first time in Texas, first time in Dallas, and it's amazing. to come over and see what it's like, the big sprawling, because obviously everyone's much smaller in Ireland. And like, how do you spot like an Irishman walking in Texas or New York, whatever? Like, you know, they're walking like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, our tallest one is like 15 stories in Dublin. That's like one building that's 15 stories. That's the tallest. The rest are like 6 to 7 stories at the very most. So we wouldn't be used to this sort of the architecture you have over here. So that's kind of interesting. And you know, it's nice to come to a festival like this, a well-run festival. Like, you know, when you get a different view and a different sense of how it works as compared to say some of the Irish festivals. Like, you know, so. Even say like Galway's an amazing festival, like, you know, but like other festivals you go to, like, this is a very professional festival, like, you know, and to come and experience that and to get the opportunity is great for an Irish filmmaker to, and as well as that, to come along and see what an international audience thinks of it, like, you know, because you're in your little bubble, like, you know, when you make your film, and you really don't have a clue what people are going to think about it, and you come over here and you get. And you know, when you hear the people, you sit there and, yeah, they're laughing at the right spots. Yeah, okay, that works. It transcends borders, like, you know, and it's great to kind of get that. That's the sort of thing you get from coming to a festival like this.
So having the world premiere, I mean, this is the culmination of all that work. How are you feeling?
Great. I mean, delighted. I mean, it's great to be invited because, I mean, to be honest, it's a hard film to sell to a festival. I mean, like, you know, because it is a tough film. It's a certain style of film. So you need a brave festival to take it on, like, you know, and I was delighted when Dallas took it, like, you know, and I said, it's just great to get it out there at last, because I mean, we shot this in February 2015, and we had some delays with funding issues and stuff, like, you know, so we actually finished film in just the start of March this year. So
wow.
So it's like it was but a year and 2 months after we shot it, like, you know, so it's quite a long lead-in time. So there's a lot of people, I see, well, when is it ever going to come out? What's going to happen with it? Like, you know, so it's great to get it out at last and to see how it gets on, like.
Well, I can't wait for people to see it. I was blown away by it,
Thank you.
and I hope people will definitely go see In View, if not here, hopefully later
Somewhere
on.
else.
Definitely. Well, Darren, thank you for coming to Dallas, and I hope you enjoy a good steak
Well,
while you're out here.
Thank you very much. Cheers then. Thank you.